Reroll targets, let's break it down. Welcome back to Corky Gachas, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys my personal reroll tier list for Reverse 1999 official global launch version 1.0. And I understand that there are a lot of tier lists out there already, and my personal tier list might look a bit different, but before you start flaming me in the comment section below, I'm going to lay out the assumptions and why I lay out the tier list in such a way. I'm going to first say the first thing is this is a strictly reroll tier list. This is not a character strength tier list. Okay, please do not use that to judge this tier list. This is based on reroll, and the angle is that we are going to target progression as fast as possible, which means that it is going to take into account the first 2 seasons of Limbo, which are going to be mineral as well as beast afflictors units, which you are going to be facing, which means that the plant units as well as the star units are going to be a bit more bumped up in my tier list. And also, this is going to be based on earliest progression, like I mentioned, which means that heavily investment-based units might be a bit lower in the tier list. Okay, so with that out of the way, I still want to say tier lists are subjective, so you are free to disagree with me. Leave a comment in the comment section below, let me know, and I'll probably ignore it. Okay, so first things first, you can see we have 5 tiers over here, right? This is not your usual A, B, C, D, but instead we have from the last one, it is called Na, which means we are not going to bother with this. If you get it, not going to care, not going to consider it. Door gifts are pretty much as it stands, right? Door gifts, if they come free, I would take them, but if you want me to actually pay for them, which means paying with my whole account status, I'm not going to do that. So they are good to come free with other stuff, but they are not good by themselves. Next up, settle tier. So for this tier, as the name suggests, you could probably settle if you are not a hardcore reroller. I think that if they come with a bit more of the goodies, the door gifts, you can probably just start your account with it if you really wish to. Next is going to be the stop. So this is where you can kind of consider like you are pretty much just good, right? You don't have to go for the ultimate tier, so you can probably stop here if you get any one of these units, but I would suggest maybe still grab like 1 door gifts before you stop with it. So this is for the stop tier. And then lastly, you have the done tier. If you get any one of these units, you pretty much are done. You can just start unless you really want to get even more, right? You're being super greedy, but of course that is going to take you even more time to reroll. With that out of the way, we are going to first eliminate 2 of the targets, which are Matt over here as well as Soneto. So both of these units, you can get it for free and you cannot actually get it from the banner. So we are not going to be including these 2 units in this tier list. Now with those 2 out of the way, let's first start with our Na tier, which is going to be none other than New Babel. So New Babel is honestly really bad if you consider at launch, right? I'm not talking about character tiers. She's a taunter, she comes with a lot of defensive skills, but honestly at launch you don't really need it. The first 2 seasons of Limbo aren't exactly the most suitable for her to perform as well, and she requires huge investments for her to work. Definitely in the end game she can probably work. I think in the latest Limbo for China, she is actually useful, and who knows, maybe she'll continue to be useful. And then next we have all the useless 5-star units for reroll purposes. So the first one, we are going to have this Tenant. So Tenant over here, she's a DPS unit, but she is of the Beast Affection, so I'm not going to spend too much time on her. Beast Affection, 5-star DPS, but single target and not the best. Next is going to be Sweetheart. Honestly, Na tier as well. She's kind of mixed. She has like a single target skill, she has an AoE skill, but her main use, which is lowering defenses, is honestly tied around the ultimate, and the other AoE skill requires you to have like specific conditions. So for a 5-star unit to have so many conditions, I rather not invest in her. So and also it doesn't help that she's of the beast affectless, so definitely I would favor more towards the plant as well as the star, so useless over here. And lastly, we have in the Na tier Click. I think Click is too niche. That's all I'm going to say about him. I don't think anyone wants to build him. And that's it for our Na tier. Next, we have the Door Gift, slightly better than Na tier. So we're going to start with 2 units over here, and they are going to be Necrologist as well as X. And the reason why I bunched them together is because they fulfill similar roles as the 5-star units. They fulfill the support Dispeller role, right? So both of these units have dispelling skills, and I wouldn't say you exactly need it. If you need it, then they probably wouldn't be Door Gifts. Next is going to be a Another 5-star unit, I would say it's slightly better. I would put her over here, Baby Blue. So Baby Blue is good because she is the beacon counterpart, right? So she deals mental damage and she also applies mental defense debuff. So this is very good as a support for the mental teams, especially since she is also star afflicted. So she's definitely useful in the first 2 seasons of the Limbo, and yeah, that is why I put her here. However, the reason why she's in dog gift here is because most of the better units, right, are reality units at launch. The mental teams are kind of weak at launch, so doesn't really suit in. And also one of the like better units that she can technically pair with, like Druvius, the Afflectors itself, if you were to pair them, it doesn't really mix up that well. So on that slot, Satsuki is a better supporter for Druvius, so that's why I think that Baby Blue is a bit weaker. You can pair her with Voyager, but I think still kind of meh, so mental team's not my favorite at launch. Next is going to be the unit that I mentioned just now, which is Satsuki. So Satsuki is a plant type, so as you know, right, plant type higher in my tier list. And also, she pairs well with Druvis to actually form a good team. But the reason why she isn't higher, right, is because honestly, she's just a supporter, and without Druvis, she's kind of useless. Rigidity is just a weaker Petrify, so I don't really think she excels that much as a support for other units. It's just specifically for Druvis. So yeah, only on dog gifts, but definitely useful because she's a plant. She can kind of support in for the control role if you really have to. And lastly is going to be DK, and I know a lot of people is going to flame me for putting DK so low. I'm going to probably put her like either here or here, like mid tier, right? So the reason why I put DK so low is because you get her for free on the 8th day. So why are you settling for her, right? Why are you trying to get her and then call it a day when you can get it for free on the 8th day? And I think most people are going to clear the story X in the first few days and then start to slowly go into Limbo. So by the time you need her, she will be there. Meanwhile, for story X, even if you run with a like lousier healer, you can probably make do with it. So that is about it for our dog gifts. Next, we are going to go into Settle tier. So for Settle tier, the first one is going to be Sotheby. Sotheby is a rate up unit on launch, and the reason why she's on Settle tier is because honestly, she's not that good in the early game. Like, other healers are better than her, but the fact that she's a healer already makes her quite good at launch, because at launch you don't have that many healers. You only have like Sotheby, you have like Balloon Party, and also you have Medicine Pocket, but you see 6-star, 6-star, and then this is a 5-star. So not that easy to obtain good healers. So even having a healer is good to settle for. You can probably just start the game. And if you want to play a Jessica team, Jessica comes out in what version 1.2, you can probably make her go up one more tier, right? If you're playing that team, because that team kind of goes well. The poison team, pretty good with Jessica, Sotheby. So yeah, but on early game, I don't think she's that good. So subpar healer, but still a healer, so settle tier. Next is going to be A Knight. So A Knight also rate up banner. I've seen people clear Limbo Season 1 with A Knight. So I think that A Knight is pretty decent. But at the same time, given the fact that A Knight doesn't really excel in anything, kind of well-rounded unit, you can probably use it for anything and it still remains relevant, I think, in current meta in CN. Probably still in like the 3rd tier. So well-rounded unit, quite decently tanky as well. So good unit overall. And lastly, on our Settle tier is going to be Charlie. So Charlie is a 5-star unit, and the reason why she is so high up over here is because she is the strongest DPS if you can get enough copies of her, enough dupes of her to get more portraits. So that's what the dupes are in Reverse 1999. But if you were to just roll and you get one copy of Charlie, is she really that good? I don't really think so. Maybe she's the end of Settle tier even. So if you only get one copy, I think she's kind of meh. If you get more than one copy, you get 2-3 copies, right? You can probably put her up there. You get 3 copies, then this is your kind of stop sign, right? Just use her as a main star DPS mental team. Very good pair up with like maybe Baby Blue. You're all set. So this is what the reason why this is kind of flex. So Settle, if you only get one copy, one of the highest, or if not the highest DPS, even higher than Leah at high portraits. Next is going to be our stop here. So this is where you can really consider stopping, and the first one you guys are going to flame me. I know what you guys are going to flame me for. Eternity. I know that a lot of people put their tier list, put Eternity on tier 0, but I think that the fact is that she is good. That's why she's in stock tier, right? But she's not like tier 0 in terms of reroll tier, simply because the first 2 Limbo seasons doesn't benefit her. And people always say that, oh, Eternity is so strong that you can solo her. But honestly, bring her to season 1 Limbo. Let me see you solo without like IF3 max. Even IF3 max, I don't think you can solo. So definitely, I don't think Eternity is at global launch a tier 0. But of course, good unit to start your game with. I think that she deserves this spot because even at, I think, I2, which is usually where people stop at, I2 level 50 is good enough for her. Very, very strong already. She has a good sustain with her ultimate, and she does huge amounts of damage and also inflicts debuff. So everything, I think, pretty much Eternity can cover. So if you start with Eternity, you are pretty much also set. Don't have to specifically target if you're not hardcore going for Limbo. Excellent progression, okay? So next is going to be Regulus, and also let me just add in Leah as well. So I'm just going to talk about them. All 3 of them is in the beginner banner, so which also means that if you don't want to reroll any one of them, it's going to be pretty good. So the reason why Regulus is good is because Regulus actually does a lot of damage, and the ultimate is AoE. Pretty strong. And for people that are arguing that at launch, early game, Regulus is not going to be good, please, if you are going to reroll, we're not going to talk about early game, because early game is story arc. Story arcs is nonsense. You can bring pretty much any unit there, you can clear it. So at least when you're challenging Limbo, you should at least have I2 and maybe level 40, level 50. So at that stage, with the free side cubes, if you have her as your prime unit, you get pretty much set, right? So the same reason goes for Leah as well. So a lot of people also argue that early game not good, but yeah, don't talk about early game, that is nonsense. Story X is a joke. So definitely we are just going to go with these 2 units on the stock tier. They are good enough. Any 3 of these good units, beginner banner, just go for it. Okay, you are set already. But of course, people are greedy, people want more. So yeah, next is going to be Voyager. Okay, Voyager is very good early, and also the reason why I think Voyager must be higher over here is because Voyager is a star afflictus, and she does really well with a mental debuff team, or like with Baby Blue, I think she's fine. And the fact that Voyager has this crit debuff, right, which is why 2 Fairy in version 1.2 is so strong. Voyager already has it. Just the fact that, of course, it's not as good as 2 Fairy. I think it's at level 2 that you unlock. That means you need to level up your card to level 2 before it can actually have that debuff, the crit debuff. But regardless, she is extremely strong unit. So if you want, you can start with her. In fact, in CBT, I tried to go for her, but I couldn't get her. So yeah, Voyager, very good star mental team unit. Okay, and then we are going to have Beacon. Okay, guys, I know again people want to put Beacon in tier 0, okay, but in a reroll tier list, Beacon is at most stock tier over here. And the reason why is because if you were to play the game and you reroll until Beacon, you see Beacon in your unit list, and you will notice that Beacon is a 5-star. Of course, she is the strongest 5-star without doubt, because she does increase damage taken as well as reality defense debuff in 1 skill. Insane, okay? And she also does decent damage, and her ultimate also cancels other people's ultimate. Does seal. So very OP here. But the fact that she is a 5-star unit means that if you were to just use up all your rolls that you accumulate throughout the playthrough, you are going to very easily get Beacon. Of course, you are unlucky, don't blame me, but yeah, if you're going to have an easier time getting Beacon, especially since there's a rate up banner A Knight with Beacon. So if you really want Beacon, just go and roll for that after your initial reroll, right? Just go roll a few times, you're probably going to get it. A few 10 draws, you're going to get it already. So which is why I put her on the stock tier. She's going to be a good unit for sure, but yeah, not worth you to just reroll target for solely. Okay, so that's my reason why, but that doesn't mean that she is weak. Okay, next is going to be Balloon Party. Balloon Party, best healer, bar none, except for, okay, not best healer, best 5-star healer, bar none. Okay, very strong. Balloon Party heals based on the HP that you have lost, and that is extremely OP. Also, the balloons gives good damage reduction, if I'm not wrong. But the only problem with Balloon Party is that she is a mineral type, so doesn't really work that well for the first Limbo, but she is a healer, so you don't have much choice, and if she's the best 5-star healer, what do you expect, right? Lower investment, but you get a super good healer. And lastly, it's going to be our Medicine Pocket. So Medicine Pocket over here, as I mentioned, she is the best healer as of now, and the reason is very simple. She does too many things at once. The only problem is that she is of Beast, but of course, right, next season comes and she's going to be good, but even as a Beast faction, Beast effectors, so freaking OP. Okay, does so many things. Daze with her ultimate. Daze means that opponent cannot act, and also after using the ultimate, I think she gains 1+1 Moxie, so she is able to move even like get the next ultimate even faster. Her debuff increases damage taken of the enemy by 20%, even at one level. So don't need to fuse any cards, already have the damage debuff. And also lastly, of course, most importantly, she's a healer. She heals everyone for a high multiplier. I think at 3-star it is 200% of her attack, so very strong. And also most importantly, sturdiness, damage taken reduced by 20%, so very insane. Oh, I forgot to mention, Voyager also does the same thing. Voyager also have the sturdiness, so that is also the reason why she is so good. So sturdiness, very strong, from what I've seen, from what I've used in China server as well. Very good. Okay, so Medicine Pocket, definitely a top tier. If you get a good healer, you can pretty much even run with like 4-star like DPS, like an Eagle. You can clear Limbo that way, right? Healer, very important, and of course healers are very scarce, so starting with a healer always going to be good. And lastly, of course, we have our done tier. Get one of this, you're going to be done. Okay, and I'm going to first say the obvious. Okay, Centurion. Okay, you have heard this many times, Centurion tier 0, okay? And even until today in China, the meta, Centurion is still very relevant, haven't been power crap. So very strong DPS, cast her ultimate very fast. You can choose to play her 2 ways, use her ultimate, don't use her ultimate. Really up to you. The DPS is off the charts, right? Can AoE, can single type. It's nonsense, Centurion. Okay, get her, you are set. Next is going to be my favorite Cantonese lady, An Li, okay? First thing, she speaks Cantonese, okay? So that's why I like her. But of course, she is an insane DPS or sub DPS as well as a supporter. She makes her cuts on the, or rather she makes the rightmost cuts go to 1 additional star, which means you free turn, right? Free move. Usually you need to use 1 move and also need to have a similar cut to actually fuse the cut. But for her, every alternate turn you can actually do it, and after you use your ultimate, you can actually chain the upgrades, easily get 3-star. So very insane. You can use 3-star and you can combo it with the skills to swap the cards. So if you don't want an Anandi 3-star card, you can actually swap the cards randomly. You are going to get one of your other units 3-star cards in replacement. So that is why she's so strong. I really like Anandi. I think she's a favorite of mine. Plus she is plant type, so first Limbo very strong, pairs extremely well with Beacon as well. Both of them are reality and reality debuff, so very strong. With those two, pretty much Limbo set for plant type. Okay, you just need to worry about a star type. And of course, off Limbo, other factions, even for the first event, she's going to be pretty much very useful. So An Li. And the last one that people probably is going to fight me for is going to be Gruvius. And I say Gruvius is really good at launch, mainly because she is plant type, and of course of the Limbo bonuses, but also the fact that even until today, I think Gruvius is also top tier in China. So you really can't argue that Gruvius is not strong. Her Petrify is very sick, and you can pair her with Sasuke to have more of those Petrify terms. And the only problem with her is that she doesn't pair well with other plant types. So if you put her with An Li, not exactly the best, still can work. But if you put her with Beacon, then it kind of clashes, right? Because Beacon reality debuff doesn't really benefit. So really need a mental team to work with her. But regardless, I think by herself, she can pretty much just clear Limbo, okay, with other like random units. So just have to get her to I3. If you don't even have I3, I think I2 is where she still is borderline super good, but I think I3 is when she get really extremely good with her plant type affectors bonuses for the rest of the teammates. The life leech on all the nonsense, very good. So this is why I think that Gruvius super OP, and this is my reroll tier list. So now that we have the reroll targets all laid out, you have the target board, but do you know how to efficiently reroll and which banner should you reroll on? So you definitely want to check out this video over here. Also, let me know what you are rerolling for in the comment section below. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.